As we already know, technology is all around us. Social media sways the way people perceive us based on our online identity. We may think we come across one way, but other people may view us in another light. So online identities is a good way to see how other people view us, which is why we were assigned this project. So throughout the course of this presentation, we're going to gain a better understanding of the different types of identities and how that relate to the internet and social media, dive a little deeper into the impression management theory and dramaturgical theories, and then lastly, analyze one of my classmates' Facebook profiles based on our class concepts that we have learned. So to review some concepts we've already talked about in class, the definition of identity is a person's conception of self within a particular social, geographical, cultural, and political context. Now there's two types of identities. There's primary, which is biologically driven by attributes, ethnicity, a person's sex, so essentially what they're born with. Whereas secondary type of identity includes their political views, educational status, their gender, because that can change. Those are more characteristics that they create in their lifetime. Another type of identity is an avowed identity, and that is what we consider to be our own identity. So on Facebook, we probably think that we are come across as this type of person, so that would be our avowed identity, while an ascribed identity is what other people consider to be our identity. So whatever our partner within this project believes to be our identity. Impression management is a theory that we've learned in class and we're going to use throughout this project, and it can be defined as the process by which individuals attempt to control the impressions others form of them. So essentially people try to control how other people perceive them, and that's a big part of social media. I think we all know that. So on Facebook, people try to make them think they're a certain type of person when that very well may not be the case. Another theory we kind of touched on was the looking glass self, and essentially it states that I'm not what I think I am, and I'm not what you think that I think that I am. I am what I think that you think that I am. Now, it's kind of confusing, but essentially how it relates to social media and Facebook specifically is that people on Facebook try to come across as what other people think they are. So, for example, if someone believes that others think that they're very religious, then they will share articles and like religious type things on social media so they can keep up with how people think they are as a person. The last theory I'm going to touch on is the dramaturgical theory. And that emphasizes that individuals make dramatic presentations and engage in actions directed by a script. So people put on a show essentially with their identities. There's a presentation, there's a stage where it's kind of who they are. So on that's a big part of social media. People often pretend to be someone that they're not just because they want to come across as that, maybe to hide what's going on in their real life, but this is more about just being a part of a show or putting on a show per se. Social identity kind of goes without saying, but it can shape a wide range of social and cognitive processes. So essentially a social identity controls how they're perceived by others on social media. So on Facebook, how a person's identity on social media can shape how that person thinks or views them. It goes without saying, but thought it was necessary to kind of touch on social identity. So my classmate is Burd, and she has a very dynamic identity on Facebook. There's many facets to her. She only has 568 friends, which is a pretty low number today. And so it comes across that she doesn't show much interest in Facebook. She's very family and friends oriented, but there's still not a super strong presence. So this is kind of just an overview of her presence on Facebook. As I said earlier, a person's ascribed identity is the identity that other people give them in a sense. So my ascribed identity for Katie is that she is compassionate, positive, and family oriented, as I said earlier. So you'll see on the slide a picture of like a Mother's Day post that she made. It says really nice things, just saying thank you for everything she's given them. So that shows her compassion and her family-oriented self. We can learn a lot from analyzing someone's Facebook profile, And using the Johari window process, which we learned in class, there are 3 important categories based on the characteristics that we circled for them and they circled for themselves. So for open, which is what we both circled, was that she is calm, caring, energetic, helpful, modest, reasonable, respectful, responsible. And that all shows, in this picture, she looks very happy, fun, but still respectful because there's nothing inappropriate included in this photo. Some characteristics that I circled that she did not, this is known as blind, and I circled that she was dependable, intelligent, normal, reserved, and this kind of goes with the Facebook friends, how I said she doesn't have too many, so that's why I showed that on the screen. So she's more reserved and values the people she puts on as her Facebook friends. The last category are hidden characteristics, and that's what she circled that I did not, and that includes that she is annoying, cheerful, confident, clever, imaginative, organized, which means I don't agree. I think she's a great person, but I didn't necessarily get that from her Facebook profile. But I think the screenshot I've included here kind of shows that how she's clever, and she shared an alpaca video. I think that's humorous. So those are the characteristics that she saw that I didn't. I know I've personally learned a lot from this project because we all have different perceptions of ourselves online. We think we come across as someone where other people could not. So using the concepts we learned in class and evaluating another classmate, I think we all can learn that even though we may think the way we present ourselves on social media directly reflects who we are, it may not come across to people that way. And since social media is such a big part of our lives, I think this is important to learn. Thank you.